I found the ICA after I'd been in the service for a long time. I'd been in iRacing for well over a decade and spent most of my time in NASCAR series, a lot of fixed racing for the most part, and really just got to a point in my iRacing career where I really wanted to get involved in open setup racing versus fixed, partially because I was just looking for a little higher level of competition, maybe a little cleaner driving and maybe get away from some of the challenges that go along with fixed racing on the service. And it took me a while as I was really searching out leagues because I kind of had a very specific thing I was looking for. A, I wanted to be an established league. B, I just really wanted clean, quality drivers to be racing around. And once I found the ISCA, I found out really quick that it was going to check all those boxes, and I've been with the ISCA ever since. I think the things I like the most about the ISCA is it's a developmental league, but it's also a league that's got some veteran drivers. And I think really what I was looking to do was try to surround myself with some people to better my talent, my skill, and my craft. And that's one thing the ISCA has really delivered. It's got great quality drivers. You learn how to race in close quarters around some of these other people. And I think the other thing, when you do look at the developmental side, once I joined the ICA, my I rating has soared, my safety rating is better than it's ever been. And it's also really great to see drivers that join our league, really excel over time, some of which stay with the league and some that maybe move on to some bigger things, which is really exciting. We have a great history of developing drivers. We have a great alumni list. But I just really enjoy, participating in the league and just continue to get better each week that goes by. Yeah, the competition in the ISCA is awesome. I think a lot of us talk about it, each week of just how blessed we are to have such a high level of driving capabilities and just a quality group of drivers overall. And I think that's just still, I think the thing I like the most about the ICA. You build a lot of friendships, a lot of camaraderie. We're really competitive on Thursday and Saturday nights, but it's really fun also after the race to kind of review the race start to finish. And we do a lot of coaching about what's working, what's not working. Not saying we give away all of our secrets, but I think anyone that joins it, there's a common theme. They get better each week, their I rating goes up. We see them in strength of field races over time, week in, week out. And that's just something that's really fun. Even though we compete, we really appreciate the league we participate in. And I think in most cases, we're highly competitive with some of the best and cleanest drivers on the service. And if you like long green flag runs, we don't have a lot of cautions in our races. We tend to have green flag pit stops. But those are just some things that I really enjoy about the league the most, is the quality of the competition, the lack of cautions, and just the long runs that really leads to some really awesome racing. Yeah, I think people that should join the ICA are people like myself. When I go back a few years ago and I was really looking to up my game and get involved in open setup league racing, for so long I just wasn't involved in that because I just didn't, I didn't seek it out, but I really didn't also know how to get started. And once I started doing research, it was a really easy choice that the ICA was a place I really wanted to be and get involved with. And all those things I talked about earlier have happened to me, from improving I rating, improving my skill. And, I'm someone that I really enjoy the ICA. I'll probably stay there, but don't think that, if you're coming to the ICA, that it's something long-term. That in some cases you can find a long-term home like a lot of us, but we develop drivers, and ultimately we'd like to see our drivers participate for a period of time and hopefully move their way up the ranks, whether that be into Road to Pro or Contender Series, or hopefully get to the Coke Series. That's really the goal of what we want to be, is an established league with great drivers, but also a league that's going to develop drivers into bigger and better things.
Hello and welcome everyone to the ISCA Thursday Cup Series. We sure are excited to be here at North Wilkesboro. This 0.63 mile racetrack, the Sundrop 250 laps set to happen here today at this historic racetrack that has just been revived here as of late. Can't wait to see NASCAR come here in real life this weekend. Of course, my name is Brian Britton. I'm joined in the booth by none other than Big Al. How are you doing this evening, Big Al?
Hey, doing pretty good, Brian. Awesome. Glad to be back here in the great state of North Carolina this week. Back to North Wilkesboro, a track that, plays in my mind from being a child, but then that thing's not been on the series for quite a while there.
Yeah, and it's so crazy to see this track actually come back to life and actually see it in real life. And what's really interesting is in 2019, Dale Jr. and some buddies went out here and weed eated, cleaned up the track a little bit. They scanned it for iRacing to keep it for posterity purposes. And then $16 million was allocated by the great state of North Carolina to actually renovate this racetrack. And now it is going to be the site of the All-Star race this Sunday. Isn't that something?
That's going to be quite awesome to see. I just hope they can actually keep the revenue, man, and keep the keep enough races going on here at this short track to actually make it worthwhile.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing for sure. Of course, they've had quite a bit of some late model races here over the past week, and I hope they do keep it going. But of course, talking about the virtual race we're going to be here doing tonight at the Sundrop 250, 250 laps, as I mentioned before. Stages are going to be 50 and 115, 5 sets of tires, 4 actually going to be down in the pits. Of course, 135 laps is the fuel window. That is the exact length of the final stage, so I don't believe anyone's really going to need fuel in this race, but tires will be something I think that will be quite valuable. This is kind of a little bit of a multi-groove racetrack somewhat, wouldn't you say, Big Al?
Yeah, definitely. And I do believe tires are going to be a premium, Brian. Another thing is if these guys are patient, I do believe we'll have a lot of green flag racing. But if they're not patient, man, this track is one of those that can really kind of mess you up pretty bad if you're not paying attention.
It truly is. I mean, we talk about it being somewhat multi-groove. I say it is for lack of a better way to explain it. It is one groove, but you can race side by side, and you can make it work on the top groove, especially on restarts. But side by side, as every short track you usually see, does slow you down to where the guys behind you will be able to catch you. But you still can make the top and the bottom groove work, so passing will be possible out here. But like you said, tire wear is going to be significant.
Passing will not only be possible, it will be prevalent because you're going to see these guys, they're going to get impatient, and as the race wears on and these guys are in that stage, some drivers are going to be able to conserve the tires better than others, Brian, and I think that's going to make it a little tricky.
Yeah, and of course, one thing we didn't mention as well, I'm going to go right into the Cup Series points right after this point. You even asked about it before the broadcast began. Was, what about setups this week? The officials are not running here at North Wilkesboro. It is Texas in the official series on iRacing. So these guys don't have setups. They're kind of stuck and have to build their own setups this week. So we're hoping that these guys spent some time working on it. If you didn't, you're going to struggle here tonight. Of course, looking at the points, though, Brian Johnson at the top of the board right now. With, I do believe, 406 points, only 2 points over Brandon Pasalacqua, who missed last week's race. Don't see him, I do believe, in the field tonight. I hope everything's okay with him. It's not like Brandon Pasalacqua would have missed races, so we definitely are hoping that everything's fine with him. Of course, he still is in that second spot. Of course, Josh Schaffner is in third, Shane Parrish fourth, Kenny Powell's in fifth, Scott Naslin sixth, Ryan Strunk seventh, Greg Wachinski eighth, Chris Johnson's in ninth, Randy Mullins is in the 10th spot. And let's take a quick look at the super point. And, of course, bringing those up on our screens here. Brandon Pasalacqua still out in front in that one, but for how long, considering Brian Johnson is in this race and is going to probably be collecting some points. There was some drama last week. Hopefully that drama has died down for this week, but Kenny Powell is in third, Scott Naslin fourth, Josh Schaffner fifth, Shane Parrish is in sixth, Greg Wachinski seventh, Ryan Strunk eighth, Chris Johnson ninth, and Jose Acosta is in 10th. Of course, it looks like we got about 40 seconds left in qualifying. I think now is the perfect time to go ahead and take that quick step away, play our national anthem. We'll pay some attention to our sponsors, and we'll be right back with some racing here, classic historical racing at North Wilkesboro.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Driver, start your engine!
It's gonna get hot today. Grab an ice cold sun drop and show us how you drop it.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
And drop it.
Cause I got it going on. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
A thirst quenching citrus soda just dropped coast to coast. Sun drop.
That's how you drop it. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms, from camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so comfortable, bro. We get a hug. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We have the grid set for this evening's action here at North Wilkesboro. Patrick Gitter is going to be starting on the pole with the 18.436. Definitely a very fast lap. Randy Mullins, not much slower, 18.503 in second place. Third place going to be Brian Johnson. Chris Johnson in fourth place. So, and not a big spread there in lap times, actually, which is surprising. Of course, fifth place going to be Greg Carr. Mark Sanchez in sixth place. Seventh place, J.C. Evans. Matt DeCiani in eighth. Ninth place, Greg Wachinski. And Josh Hoffner rounds out the top 10.
Yep, Kenny Powell is going to be in 11th with Alexander Carr 12th. Jose Acosta, who will actually be getting an end-of-the-line penalty, qualified in 13th. Al Koslowski in 14th. 15th is Paul Olsen. 16th, Derek Jacobs. And Ryan Strunk rounds out the 17-car field.
Yep, and we talked about it a little bit about these guys not having really a setup. Like a lot of these guys rely on a setup shop or something to that effect. That they didn't have that this week because the officials are not running here at North Wilkesboro. And I'm surprised we have 17, Big Al. A lot of times when you have a race like this, that is open and does not have a really any setup shops to rely on. A lot of times you don't see guys run as much. It's kind of intimidating.
Yeah, but one thing though, Brian, that is consistent is, the competition level as well as the participation level that we have here on this Thursday night series. A lot more action, a lot more participants on Thursdays than we generally have on our Saturday series. And it's come to life with a lot of new guys and a lot of competition, a lot of teams out here. And that's one thing I really like to see. I like to see it mixed up where you got different levels of competition.
Oh, 100%. Well, here we go. Pace car getting ready to dip down pit road. And one thing about this track, as soon as the pace car's gone, the green flag comes out quickly there. Patrick Gitter with a heck of a jump there to the line. She is going to come into turn one with nobody contesting that position.
Yeah, well, we got a little bit of bumpsy-weezies going on there. Looks like Derek Carr kind of got a little bit stuffed there, and ultimately, I do believe it would have been the Monster Energy car there. I do believe that's Greg Wachinski that actually did get some nose damage on it.
Yeah, that's one thing these guys are not going to want to have happen is damage. But, of course, these next-gen cars are quite tough and resilient. And one thing about it, though, this track does not have safer barriers, which means you're hitting straight old concrete.
Is that a bad thing?
I would say so, considering, concrete don't give. But Brian Johnson has driven his way up into second place, got by Randy Mullins. He's going to see if he can't possibly chase down Patrick Gitter. Now, I know Brian Johnson has worked quite a bit this week on getting this setup ready. He's one of those guys that knows how to tinker himself, so we'll have to wait and see what he has managed to do. Right now, he is catching Patrick Gitter.
Yeah, and I think the thing here is going to be about how many laps each driver was actually able to put down this week, Brian. If you look at it from a holistic standpoint, the more seat time, this isn't going to be one where, hey, yeah, I just showed up, took it off the trailer, and we come out here and beat everybody and won. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different dimensions going on, especially with all of the updates in this track. So each team would have definitely had to be meticulous in their preparation and planning, and just to be able to participate here tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just working on the setup's one thing, but also, like you said, kind of getting the repetition in, to know exactly what the car is going to do on the long run. This place does burn tires up significantly. Well, watching kind of the battle here between Randy Mullins and I do believe Chris Johnson. Johnson has been all over Randy Mullins here the last couple laps, and looks like Randy Mullins is a little bit loose off the corner sometimes.
I'm going to tell you, it looks like Brian and his brother Chris D. Johnson both are running pretty well, as they're both actually in the top five. The top four cars have actually got a considerable breakaway there, with the fifth place Matt DeCiani being some 2 seconds back.
We're also seeing Greg Wachinski, of course, back in the 9th place position, trying to possibly get 8th away from J.C. Evans here. Very difficult to pass on the bottom, though, I'll tell you, just considering it's so hard to get the run off of the corner when you're almost kind of being pinched down. This is a track that you want to arc the corner as much as you can to be able to get that momentum onto the straightaway.
Yeah, and coming out of 1 and 2 is definitely going to be different for a lot of drivers, Brian, but however smooth and consistent you do it is definitely going to lead to your longevity. If you're going to see guys start to spin here, it's definitely going to be once they're coming off for either turn 2 or turn 4. Turn 4 there, going towards the start-finish line, that's always going to be a sticky point of contention, especially once these guys get a little bit of wear on those tires.
We are starting to see some battling for the lead here. Patrick Gitter trying to hold off Brian Johnson. Johnson has been putting a lot of pressure on him, but this has also brought Randy Mullins and Chris Johnson right here into the picture as well. Love this rear chase camera here. You can definitely see this top 4 are right up on top of each other right now.
And DeCiano's doing everything that he can to reel these guys in. If you see, it is a breakaway for the lead 4. Further back in the field, you see Greg Carr in the 25 vehicle. He is actually running alone, just like Matt DeCiani is. And then you get a bigger stack up there once you get further back in the field. You'll have Mark Sanchez, J.C. Evans, Greg Wachinski, Kenny Powell. These guys are all battling for positions right here.
Yeah, I'm seeing a really big battle going on right now between Ryan Strunk and Josh Schaffner. It seems like Schaffner tried to get underneath Strunk and just was not able to get the run off. Got a little bit tight, almost got into the 77. Here comes the 77 underneath the 24. A little bit of touch and and there goes the 77 around.
He'll keep going. Looks like this one will be clear. That was just frustration, Brian. I think that's all that was.
Yeah, that
Interesting
was
to
close.
note. Yeah, Greg Wachinski actually was able to get around J.C. Evans. Strunk's that's not gonna help his cause any, though. His tires are definitely gonna be screaming, so wouldn't be surprised to see him fall continuously back further on in the pack. Derek Jacobs back in the 27 car. Good to see him out here tonight, as he is continuously trying to make better decisions and make it all work.
definitely trying to make something happen out here. Of course, you talk about, him sliding the tires there, Ryan Strunk. Well, you don't really have an option to go down pit road here at a short track. If you go down there, you're going to end up 2 laps or more down. So that is not what you want to have happen at all. So he's just going to have to kind of grin and bear it, Big Al.
Grin and bear it will definitely be the case, Brian, because like you said, you don't have an option of taking green flag pit stops here at a place like North Wilkesboro. I mean, you're going to have to stay in the throttle, keep it going. Now, unfortunately for Derek Jacobs, he is going to start to see the leaders encroaching in his relative as well as his rearview mirror. So hopefully that won't affect how he's driving. You know what I mean? If these guys can actually stick around, I think it'll be a really good race. Jose Acosta, Paul Olsen, these guys all back in the back here, kind of struggling a little bit here tonight, along with the 18 of Alexander Carr.
Yeah, keep in mind, the likes of like Ryan Strunk, Jose Acosta, Derek Jacobs might not have had access to a setup here tonight. So, it just really depends on if they had any good friends, good teammates to help them out with that. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like they did. I mean, that could be why they're struggling here. And it's also hard to prepare for a track that you're not sure what the temperature or the conditions are going to be. Because as you know, I mean, Big Al, you can go to practice every day, but when you actually get to the race, it could be totally different condition-wise. Seeing the race, though, starting to heat up for the lead. Brian Johnson has been all over Patrick Gitter and almost has even bumped him into the corners. I think that is really an option here at North Wilkesboro. We see it all the time at short tracks like this. This is a beating and banging sort of track, as we see Derek Jacobs now a lap down.
Yeah, Derek Jacobs is going to try to do everything he can to stay out of the way of the leaders, not wanting to infringe upon their way at all. He'll get his chance. He will get his lap back here. Looks like Paul Olsen's coming down pit road. This is not scheduled as well, so hopefully Paul will stay in the race, but I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't hit that panic button.
Yeah, unfortunately, Paul Olsen, he does take, I do believe, that reset button, unfortunately, so looks like they're going to be packing it up, putting it on the garage, the starting park there for the 43.
And this is one of those tough tracks, man, so you get an idea of how it's going to go, and maybe that's just a long night, one of those things where you might want to rather spectate instead of participate.
Yeah, it's a tough track.
Green flag racing continues. Patrick Gitter still holding off the 4. Brian Johnson, keeping him at bay, doing exactly what he needs to do. Now, Gitter started this thing on the pole. Johnson started back in 3rd place, has moved up to 2nd. Brother Chris Johnson starting back and forth. Now he's in 3rd, and we've seen Randy Mullins take it back the other direction. The deficit now to Matt DeCiani still 1.6 seconds behind the leader. He's going to be definitely going to have to make some adjustments, Brian. I'm actually surprised. Are you at how this race is actually kind of playing out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised at how competitive these guys here are. I mean, I kind of, because the way when we talked to Patrick Gitter last week on Thursday, he seemed very confident about Norfolk. Oh, somebody's in the grass there. I do believe they're taking a tow. I think that's Derek Jacobs. Yep, Derek Jacobs has taken a tow, went into the grass. I want to see if we can identify what happened here to Jacobs. I think he might have had a self-spin. I don't think he was around really any other cars. Trying to find it. I think I went a little too far back, ladies and gentlemen, but let's see if we can't find exactly what happened here. A lot of times when you touch the curbing here, or should I say the grass, it is not grippy down there.
Well, you know what? Green flag racing continues. There's nothing new to report, so just keep looking for the point of deviation, I guess you'd say, from when his back tires decided that they wanted to lead the way.
I think he was getting out of the way here, so I thought he might have had a crash. I think he was just trying to get out of the way.
Yeah, I think he was just parking it. I mean, at that point, I think he had just kind of said, hey, look, I've been riding this pony a little bit too long, and she's bucking, and I want to be trucking, so it just ain't working.
Yeah. And look at this. Patrick Gitter's now out to 1.5 seconds. He is caught up to Alexander Cars, getting ready to put him a lap down. So Patrick Gitter seems to have a really good long run, and he just had to hold on because Brian Johnson was putting a lot of pressure on him, but it looks like now it has changed. And like I was kind of previously kind of alluding to about his interview last week, he seemed very confident about North Wilkesboro, even though that these guys don't really have a setup. He felt like they would be able to come up with something, and of course, him belonging to that EPI organization, I'm sure that they had the, I'd say the resources to try to come up with something here. And I think this is really showing here with how dominant Patrick Gitter's being right now.
And you know what, dude? I just want to say, man, congratulations and thanks to all of these guys for putting in the effort and the work this week in order to make this race take place.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's great to see it. I mean, I wish the officials had ran here as well. Just consider, I mean, the tracks here, and the All-Star race is at this racetrack, but unfortunately they went to Texas. That's my little bit of a 2 cents. We are starting to see a race develop between teammates here. Kenny Powell and Greg Wachinski battling for the 6th place position. Now, these guys seem to race each other quite a bit, Big Al. And we always see it. It seems like Wachinski and Kenny Powell always have a magnet towards each other.
Well, they're very competitive and they're close, especially in their preparation for a lot of their tracks that we race at. So I think that's the reason why we see that a lot. Start to see drivers kind of drift up the track a little bit, and sometimes that's going to be to get out of the way. I hope that Gitter continues on his crusade though, and that's going to work great. I hope he continues unabated. I have a feeling though he's going to come across some guys that aren't going to want to go a lap down, Brian.
No, 100%. Looking at lap times, this is kind of an interesting picture that this is painting as well. I mean, we look at Patrick Gitter, 19.359 last time by. Brian Johnson, 0.2 slower. Chris Johnson, about 1/10 slower than Patrick Gitter. But looking all throughout these lap times, the fastest on the track last time by was actually Al Kozlowski, who was all the way back in 13th. And I'm wondering if maybe Al's been saving his tire here, and could that be something that is worthwhile?
I'm sorry. We just obviously I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties because we're hearing that somebody said Al Kozlowski was saving tires. We're trying to get confirmation on this. we do believe that this is one of those urban legends. This is a myth. I don't know who said that, but we're definitely checking into it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I think we just had somebody hack our mic system here.
Yeah, that's just, we're not able to affirm that Al Kozlowski is saving anything, but we're just going to back off and continue to monitor that situation.
100%. Now, looking at this, we are, I do believe, 8 laps here in just a moment away from the end of stage number 1. Ryan Strunk has just gotten by, I do believe, Mr. Kozlowski. Kozlowski's in a little bit of a different paint scheme, I do believe.
Yeah, this is go time right now. You're coming into the end of this thing. Right now, it's going to be 7 laps to go till you come to the end of it. Also, I do believe that they're running a different stage break caution flag wave. Is the timing different on that this week? Well, I guess we'll see here in 5 laps or so.
I guess so. Of course, Patrick Gitter doing exactly what he always does, and he gets it done. I won't say exactly what Larry the Cable Guy says, but yeah, he's up to 3 seconds away now from Brian Johnson, so he has utterly dominated the race thus far, coming up here to 5 laps to go. And what makes you say there's going to be a different timing on the caution there, Big Al?
I don't know if I maybe read that right or not, but apparently there was some discussion amongst drivers as far as the timing of the stage caution flag. And so I don't know if that's going to work out the same way or not tonight. I'm just going to be sitting here with you waiting to see how it works out. The way it normally works, ladies and gentlemen, that is once the 10th place car comes across the line, then the caution flag waves. Kenny Powell down pit road right now. Not sure what that's about, Brian. You might want to take a look at that.
Yeah, interesting. Taking tires here. This is, of course, he is now 8 laps down. I didn't even realize that. He was just racing with Greg Wachinski not long ago.
Kenny Powell
I think he had a throughput error or something like that, possibly.
He's also the recipient of a black flag. And yep, you're absolutely right. He had a packet loss. And whatever happened to that caused him to have a black flag. So, yeah, we're just saying that Kenny, somebody's boiled his water but left his grits cold.
Yeah, they definitely did. I mean, that's unfortunate for him as well. I'll tell you who's been looking like a rocket ship here so far tonight. Matt DeCiani, he has gotten by Chris Johnson, now up to third, starting to put some pressure on Brian Johnson here. Also, Randy Mullins is starting to get a burst of speed as well.
And how about this?
Yellow flag is out.
That is it. That is going to be your stage break right there. Stage 1 in the books. Patrick Gitter, your stage 1 winner with Brian Johnson, P2. Matt DeCiani comes across in third. Chris D. Johnson, 4th. Randy Mullins, 5th. Greg Wachinski, 6th. Greg Carr, 7th. 8th place shows J.C. Evans. 9th is Mark Sanchez. And Ryan Strunk rounds out those top 10 points paying positions. And with stage 1 in the books, we're going to take a real quick step away, get a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry we had to cut the commercial a little bit early. That way we'd have enough time to talk to our Stage 1 winner. Of course, that will be Patrick Gitter, who has joined us here in the booth. What a dominant Stage 1 there for you. Of course, some guys made some little bit of alternate strategies off of pit road. Tell us a little bit about the preparation coming into tonight's race. Of course, this being a little bit off the official schedule. What was that like? Did that make it more difficult?
Yeah, a little bit. Earlier in the week, we were focused in on the officials. These cars are at Texas. We had our mind on that earlier in the week, and I'm fortunate here that I've had a lot of experience running late models and tour mods here and those series on iRacing. So I was actually surprised at how similar you can run this car compared to the line that you take in those cars here. So I think that's helped a lot.
Well, that's definitely very interesting that you were able to really translate that speed here to this racetrack. Of course, like setup-wise, I mean, how long did it take you to kind of work on that? Did that take a lot of time?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I'd have to ask Michael Conti.
Oh, okay.
he was gracious enough to get us a setup for these tonight over at EPI and Team Conti, so they hooked us up, and it feels really good so far. So we'll see how it holds up over this longer run in Stage 2.
Yeah, it definitely seems like you guys got a good long run. Well, it seems like the pace car lights are out. Can we get a quick shout out before we let you get back to it?
Yeah, man, I got to thank EPI, Team Conti, Martin PC, and C12 Designs for their help, and we'll hopefully talk to you guys here in a little bit.
All righty. Well, good luck to you, Patrick. We'll talk to you later.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
All righty. That was Patrick Gitter, our Stage 1 winner. Of course, Matt DeCiani, I think, took 2 tires on pit road, so we'll have to see how this works out for him. As here we go, green flag going to fly for the second time here tonight. And what a good start there from Patrick Gitter. Side by side for second place, though, is Brian Johnson. And, good start for Matt DeCiani. Second place is Patrick Gitter, who has just taken the spot from Brian Johnson. And look at the speed difference here from Gitter. He took 4 tires. I think that's going to be the call. I'm wondering how DeCiani's going to be able to hold up if he did take 2 tires there.
He did take 2 tires, Brian, because we're showing that he spent 8.6 seconds in the box. 8.6 seconds indicates 2 tires and fuel. So, like you said, we will be watching to see how this gamble plays out for him. The 9, though, of J.C. Evans having his hands full. He's got the 5 of Greg Wojcinski and the 77 of Ryan Strunk right up on his keister. Strunk battling back. Remember, he had that earlier woe, Brian, where he kind of found himself sliding away. Right now, he's sliding his way right back up into the top 10.
Yeah, J.C. Evans almost got there into Greg Wojcinski. Oh, almost some door banging here for this 6th place position. Still side by side. There goes J.C. Evans around.
The 99 J.C. Evans down. He's in the grass. Caution is going to come out. This is the first caution that we've had here of the evening. Let's take a look back and see what actually happened.
Of course, looking back here, we see they were racing side by side quite a bit here for the last couple laps. Came into turn 1 and just locked up the brakes. Also, the 99 of Chris Johnson had an issue.
Remember, Chris Johnson was already off and into the grass. I think that's where the cameras were at. It looks like J.C. Evans had a little bit more of a woe, too, at the same time. And I don't know if that was a track condition, Brian, or if that was just, goose knuckles.
And you know what it could have been as well. J.C. Evans could have seen Chris Johnson having that issue and probably locked up the brakes in order to avoid possibly getting in him and just pressed him too hard. It's very easy for that to happen, especially at a short track like this.
Well, here's that opportunity, and I don't think anybody's going to do it. Shoot your shot.
Just want to take a look through the cockpit camera here, JC. You see he's racing side by side with the 5 of Wojcinski. And he can see the 99 in front of him. I'm just wondering if this could have... Yeah, I think he could have reacted. He could have overreacted to seeing the 99 sideways. What do you think?
Absolutely.
But, of course, Matt DeCiani, still your leader, still on the 2 tires. Seems like he held up better than I think expected. Of course, track position is going to be very important here. So we'll have to wait and see. Is he going to be able to hold that spot until lap 115? Now, that's a long way to go from 63.
Jose Acosta, as well as the 18 bikers in the car, both came down pit road. Car's still down pit road here. He's going to be having to get a move on pretty quick if he wants to stay on that lap, and I don't think he's going to get out in time, Brian.
Yeah, it does not look like he will. He has now gone 2 laps down. Of course, that leaves us with 13 drivers on the lead lap right now. Of course, Chris Johnson, after that spin, he was up in the top 5, now is back into 11th position with J.C. Evans right there behind him. Of course, Greg Wojcinski's moved up to the 5th spot. And you talked about it earlier about Ryan Strunk. He looked like he was struggling early in this race. Now has recovered nicely to be up into that 6th position. Curious to see how these guys do. I mean, I'm looking at Josh Schaffner. We talk about long run. This is the guy that usually is really good at long runs. Pace car lights are out now. We're getting ready to double them back up and get ready to go once again here as we continue the Sun Drop 250 at the historic North Wilkesboro. Definitely going to be a really good way to hype yourself up for the NASCAR race this Sunday at this same racetrack. And I'll tell you what, it seems from what I've heard from a lot of people, they say that they have really done quite a great job fixing that place up. It's amazing. I hope they do that to a lot of other tracks. As the green flag comes back out in the air, another great restart there from Matt DeCiani, but almost a better start from Patrick Gitter. He was able to stay almost side by side with DeCiani. Of course, those guys on the same team means I think they might be telling each other when I'm going to go.
I think DeCiani definitely knows what he's doing. I don't think Matt would have actually taken a chance or a gamble at this stage. I think, he kind of, caution's going to be out. Big whoops back in the back of the field there. Looks like the 42 of Jose Acosta is going to be worse for wear.
Taking a look back here, see exactly what happened here to Jose.
I saw a lot of smoke, so I don't know if that was just one car involved in that.
Of course, they almost completed the lap. But looks like, yeah, he just lost it right in the center of the corner. Kenny Powell barely missing that.
Wow. Yeah, fortunately for Jose, though, a caution came out on that. And I think it might have been the sheer tenths of seconds that his car was sideways. Kenny Powell's going to be the recipient of a lucky dog. Be getting one of his 10 laps back. I think now he's being scored. It'll be 9 laps down after this one.
Yeah, he's probably hoping and praying that he can get some more of those laps back, and they'll continue to have some cautions. So he's probably clapping Jose on the back, like, "Hey, keep going, keep doing it." But definitely great race thus far here at North Wilkesboro. DeCiani, these cautions just are extending his amount of laps led, and I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Is he going to be able to hold off Patrick Gitter, who has led this race for the majority of it? Is it all about track position? Does clean air matter at a track that is 0.63 miles long? I mean, that is a short track, of just a little bit longer than Martinsville.
Yeah, but the one thing, too, that's going to play into DeCiani's favor, Brian, we're not having green flag laps right now. We've already had 2 cautions since we started the second stage, so that's playing into his favor as well. I was thinking maybe if he was second-guessing himself at that first caution, he could have came back in, got those left-side tires, and rolled back out. And I don't even know if he took right sides. I'm assuming he would have took right sides and not left. So maybe the left sides aren't wearing that much. That's valuable information also that could be shared with these guys.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think the right sides are the ones that wear the most. I think the lefts do end up getting worn, but definitely not at the same rate. And if he did decide, like you said, to kind of be like, "Oh, I don't know, I'm doubting myself, I don't think I should have stayed out," and then went back down, then he would have lost all that track position. So he has made the decision, and I admire that. You make a decision, you stick with that decision. You can't change, lanes. You can't. You know what I mean? You got to do what you. If you made that bed, you got to lie in it, right? So hopefully it works out for him. I mean, I think it will. It just really depends. It just depends on how nice Patrick Gitter wants to be to him. Does Randy Mullins and Brian Johnson get into the fray? Because I think with a track like this, if you lose one spot, a lot of times you're going to get railroaded by a lot of other drivers as well.
Lights off on the pace car. He's been getting up out of the way here pretty soon, and we will be back to green flag racing. Looks like right now we are 72 laps into stage 2. Stage 2 ends at lap 115.
And here we go. Green flag flying once again. Really good start from DeCiani once again. Patrick Gitter almost replicating exactly how last start went as well. Saw a little bit of wheel spin there from Randy Mullins, but it looks like he was able to kind of keep it together. He is in third right now.
It's interesting to see how these guys are jockeying for track position. Some guys embracing the high line, some guys doing everything they can to stay low. But like I said, when you're going into 2 and when you're going into 4, that's where you got to really be gingerly on the throttle.
Yeah, 100%. Look at Ryan Strunk. He's looking pretty strong up on the top to middle groove there. Actually having some success against Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson sideways. Whoa, what a save.
Brian Strunk sideways, and that's going to bring out the caution. The 8 car also going to get a little bit fired up back in the rear there. That's not going to be good for him. Let's take a look back and see exactly what took place. That 8 car, I believe that's Al Kozlowski that we're seeing.
That is correct. Of course, he is actually in the 88, but on the race car it does say 8. He does have a Dale Jr. throwback on that machine. But watching back here, you see the 4 of Brian Johnson racing Ryan Strunk here side by side for 4th place. And you see that Johnson gets loose into 1 and 2. See, right here, right there on the brakes, he loses it. And Ryan Strunk kind of loses it at the exact same time. I don't think there was any contact there. But let's go back and look at the 88 of Al Kozlowski. Looks like Al Kozlowski had something similar as well. Yep, he lost it right on the entry. So It's interesting because you would expect these guys to lose it on exit. You know, because you even mentioned it on the top of the broadcast about how you expected guys to kind of lose it out of 2 and 4. But we're seeing more of these guys losing it on the entry to the corners. Isn't that interesting?
You gotta set the entry up in order to get the exit. So if they're literally blowing the entry, Brian, there's no way they're going to expect to be able to get through the turn and actually get the throttle back down to where it needs to be. Because the key is going to be trying to keep the tires trailing each other as much as possible. You know, some tracks you're actually able to kind of drift it around a little bit, but with this track, you really got to get the nose pointed down in the end, because that's what's going to help you kind of carve your way around the turn. And then once you kind of feel the grip, you get back into the throttle, you know, and kind of roll back in. So you kind of find yourself braking a little bit later at this track, I think.
And lo and behold, Kenny Powell gets another one of his laps back, now to 8 laps down. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that these guys are probably just driving it in way too deep and then locking up the brakes. You know, just trying to get onto the brakes and slow it down to be able to wrap around, like you said, carve around the bottom, and it's just not working because, you know, you can't be that aggressive. You got to maximize your exit and not your entry.
And you got to also, another thing too, looking at the track temp here, track temp's at 107. Ambient air temp 78, winds out of northeast at 10 miles an hour. But the reason why I'm going to say that is I don't know if they're actually getting as much heat into the tires as they had in that first stage. We've had 3 cautions already right now in the second stage, and that's really kind of prevented these guys from getting the heat that you would build up in a longer green flag run.
No, that's definitely a very good point. I agree totally. I think that you know, you have to get them up to temperature, and these guys having cautions every couple laps does not allow that temperature to really set into the tires here. As the pace car lights are out, we're getting ready to go green once again, and I think we're going to have, if I'm not mistaken, 35 laps until we get to the end of stage 2. And there it is, green flag's out.
Still quite a ways to go. Whoa, big whoops right there to 4. Brian Johnson getting hit again. Greg Carr got into him. That was a chain reaction right there, but I do believe the 4 probably took the brunt of it. These cars are tough and resilient, though. I hope the drivers are.
Yeah, that's for sure. Mentally, I'd hope they are. Here we go. Take a look back here as we see the green flag was coming out. And I think Brian Johnson, he got going just fine. But I think Greg, oh, no, that was actually Wachinski that had an issue up on the top that sent him down into Brian Johnson. And Greg Carr nailed Johnson from behind. And a lot of damage on the front end of Greg Carr there. But I think we need to look back at this one more time and look at the 5. Something happens to the 5 here.
All I know is we was out in the prison yard and everything just went crazy.
A riot. I want to say that Schaffner... No, that was just a... Wachinski just lost it all on his own.
Did he get tagged, though? I mean, can we look at that one more time? Did he get tagged on the start?
Look at it. It looks like he just lost it into turn 1 all by himself.
Yeah, sure enough.
No one touched him.
Wow. Maybe he was maybe he hit the wrong gear or something, because that's usually cars don't, unless you're downshift, and they don't pull that hard to the left like that.
Let's take another look at Brian Johnson here in this whole incident. It was quite a stack up. And right there, boom.
Yeah, 25 Greg's car definitely got a good shot in on the 4. Light's going to be off on the pace car, I do believe, this time by. Got Mark Sanchez and the 25 Greg car now slowly getting themselves off of pit road. Nope, we still have one more time around. Those of you just joining us, you are watching our scheduled coverage of the Sun Drop 250 here at the beautiful North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. This track actually disappeared from the NASCAR circuit back in 1996, but it will be the site of the All-Star race this weekend here for those NASCAR guys. But tonight, we're running it just as our standard Thursday night Cup race.
Yeah, I love to see it. Hopefully they actually add it to the normal NASCAR schedule, not just an all-star race. I want to see it just come back into rotation full time. I mean, but I think it's all really going to depend on how this all-star race goes, Big Al. And, of course, here we go. Pace car lights have gone out, and, of course, the green flag will follow as Matt DeCiani has led the majority, I'd say, of the stage here in stage number 2. He does have now, I think, 29 laps to go here once the green flag flies. And here we go. Green flag back out in the air. A lot tamer of a restart there for DeCiani. Patrick Gitter is able to slide right down ahead. Side by side, though, teammates Chris Johnson and Greg Wachinski.
I think right now everybody just needs to kind of be patient so we can get these tires up to operating speed. Get back up to race pace, and then we'll figure out what we got going on from there.
Saw Chris Johnson almost bump drafting Randy Mullins into the corner there.
Yeah, Randy had actually slipped all the way back up in the third round. Remember, as the stage went on, he kind of fell back a little bit. Also, want to pay a little bit of a shout out to Josh Schaffner watching him, and Josh is up to 6th place right now. He's going to be wanting to have a solid night if he wants to actually leapfrog Brandon Pasalacqua in the points.
Yeah, that's a very good point. 100%, very good point. And you know, I'm hoping these guys have been making adjustments and making notes and trying to work on these cars. Just so because I think that's going to be the best thing they could do. And of course, problems for Randy Mullins, slow, almost 3 wide. We are going to be 3 wide here in just a moment. It looks like Josh Schaffner thinks better of it.
I think Mullins has actually stepped right back into the same hole that he stepped into on that first stage.
It looks like the car is just not handling as well as it could be. That's going to give Ryan Strunk, I do believe, the 5th place position. Randy Mullins getting tight, almost up into the 77. Luckily, that did not happen.
Yeah, he cannot keep that car low, Brian. I don't know what's going on, but he's kind of coming in low, but it's just really pushing up on him high coming out of the turns.
And I think what we've seen actually work here during this race, though, has been the 2-tire call. Matt DeCiani has been making it work, and it seems like he's got enough pace to even run away from Patrick Gitter at the moment. So I think a lot of guys are going to be writing notes about that one, Big Al. 2 tires, check.
Yeah, but I think that might be more of DeCiani and Gitter just kind of messing with everybody. I wouldn't take a page out of that playbook just yet until it wins a couple Super Bowls.
Yeah.
I understand it. I mean, and you're right, though. Everybody is kind of looking at that, and they're thinking maybe tires don't matter that much. Track position does, but I don't know if that's going to work out as well as it is for him, for everybody else. Brian Johnson, a news story to tell, though, he really was up front battling really hard there in the first stage. Now he finds himself hanging on by a thread trying to capture a stage point here. Stage 2 is 10 laps from being in the books.
And what a great racetrack this is. It has so much history. You talked about, 1996. The last time these guys raced at this racetrack in the NASCAR Cup Series. And just amazing to see the timeline on how in 2019, just Dale Jr. going out with his friends and cleaning up a racetrack. And now it is in NASCAR again. I mean, this is like a trip back in the memory lane back into the Winston Cup Series, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, but he said Winston.
Back when cigarettes could sponsor a series.
I mean, that's why I didn't know if we could still say anything about that.
Well, I mean, Winston's not really sponsoring this series, but yeah, it's crazy though when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, that is just the way our world was. Some folks would call those the good old days.
Back when you could smoke in hospitals. Go to your local restaurant. Have to ask not smoking or non-smoking. I remember those days.
I mean, and then it's like if you think about it, like anyway, Hey, the race continues. Matt DeCiani definitely doing everything that he needs to do to get her done. I'll use that on him instead of Kidder, who is actually in second place, giving DeCiani the space that he needs. These guys are on the same team. Like I said, though, the driver that we're going to be watching, that I'm watching, that's Josh Schaffner. He is up to sixth place, and those stage points this time are going to matter. Now, he didn't do as well as he did not do as well at the end of the first stage. I think he finished in 13th. So this stage will actually give him those points that he is going to need to actually advance him over Brandon Pasalacqua in the Cup standings.
100%. Of course, Derek Jacobs made his way back up onto the track, so glad to see that. Of course, he's some 25 laps down, but at least he is trying.
Yeah, man, and we talk about Derek Jacobs every week, and the reason why we do is because we want anybody that's out there that's watching well, I don't care if you want to start running a marathon or freaking learn how to bake a cake. Derek Jacobs is a guy who's learning how to increase his racecraft by racing against the drivers that are probably a lot better than he is. But the only way he's going to do that is by doing what he's doing. So yeah. I'm going to use this to say anybody that's out here that's listening to this broadcast, I mean, channel a little bit of energy from Mr. Jacobs' playbook and go out there and challenge yourself to do something that you normally wouldn't do or that you didn't think you were good at. Give it a shot, man, because you're never going to win if you don't start.
That's right. No, that's some words of wisdom for sure. I mean, and that doesn't even just apply to iRacing. That applies to just life in general. I mean, you always want to learn how to play the guitar, but you're scared that I'm not going to be able to do it, which you don't know if you don't try.
Got to start picking and grinning somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, Matt DeCiani out in front by 1.4 seconds, almost 1.5 seconds now, as we have, I do believe, less than 10 laps to go here in Stage 2. Greg Wyszynski's been looking strong. He's got, of course, Ryan Strunk not far behind him, but Josh Schaffner, you talked about him, he is coming.
DeCiani now going to be running up onto our own personal version of Ross Chastain, which would be the 42 of Jose Acosta. And I think Jose would fall into the category of a driver that doesn't want to get lapped.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, if he does get lapped, he will be able to get his lap back. But, I mean, definitely unfortunate for Jose. It just doesn't seem like they unloaded a good enough car here tonight. And like I said, I mean, a lot of guys don't necessarily have those resources when it comes to, building a race car themselves or a team of drivers like EPI has. I mean, those guys, Michael Conti. Michael Conti is a Coke Series driver, and to have someone like that building a race car specifically for an ISCA race, that gives you kind of a big advantage, I'd say. And Jose doesn't have those resources. A lot of other drivers out here don't have those kind of resources.
Yeah, and it definitely shows. I mean, this is what we came to see right here. Going to be 4 laps left to go in Stage 2. Stage 2 being quite eventful. 4 cautions here in Stage 2. So, wow, that's all I could say about that is wow.
At least we're getting a good green run now. Of course, Matt DeCiani just got by Alexander Carr, putting him yet another lap down. He is now 10 laps down. And, of course, I do believe now 5 laps to go in Stage 2. Now, last stage we saw as soon as the first place car crossed the line, it seemed like the caution flag flew. So we'll have to see if that is going to be the same way this time around as well.
It'll be 3 laps to go. We'll be coming to 113 at the line. So 2 laps to go now to 115.
Do see some side by side a little further back, but I think that is actually lap traffic. And here comes Matt DeCiani getting by Derek Jacobs again. Jacobs, of course, driving around on the bottom, trying to stay out of the way.
Are you live?
Yeah, we are live.
Okay, just checking.
Had me doubting myself.
No,
here we go. White flag, I do believe, for the stage is out. So all Matt DeCiani has to do now is get through 3 and 4, and he will be the Stage 2 winner.
There is a lot of traffic out there as well.
That there is. And caution is out. So, yeah, I think my suspicions have been confirmed that when he crosses the line, that is when the yellow flag will come out. So, like Big Al alluded to earlier, usually the 10th place car crosses the line, but this time now it is the first place car. But let's go ahead and run down through the stage 2 results. DeCiani in first place, Patrick Gitter second, Chris Johnson third, Greg Wachinski in fourth. Josh Schaffner somehow, I do believe, able to get fifth away from Ryan Strunk there coming across the line. Sixth place, Ryan Strunk. Seventh place, Randy Mullins. Eighth, J.C. Evans. Ninth, Brian Johnson. And 10th, Al Kozlowski. With that, we'll go ahead and take a brief step away. We'll be right back with whoever Big Al decides he wants to talk to.
It's gonna get hot today. Grab an ice cold sun drop and show us how you drop it.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
And drop it.
Cause I got it going on. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
A thirst quenching citrus soda just dropped coast to coast. Sun drop.
That's how you drop it. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we just completed stage number 2. Matt DeCiani was able to win stage 2, but Patrick Gitter won the race off pit road. Of course, I do believe Big Al is standing by with our stage 2 winner, DeCiani.
Matt DeCiani, Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, long time no talk, boss. How you been?
I'm pretty good. How about you?
Hey, pretty good as well, man. So, first thing is, I think the one question everybody wants to know is you really did short pit that stage. You only took right side tires?
Yes, sir.
All right, so do tell. What goes into that?
Just a lot of testing. Granted, I didn't run any. I ran like 20 laps before the session opened tonight, but just the lefts don't wear, and it seems like it's better on rights.
All right, man. So definitely. So you said you ran 20 laps. Does that mean you were not totally wrapped up and stressed out about coming up with a setup for this week's race here at North Wilkesboro?
No, not really. And, you know, Michael Conti is just always an awesome runner of our shop. And, yeah, he obviously put something together for us.
So I guess it always feels good if you got a Conti on your staff. So you just kind of go fishing and eat banana splits all day, right?
Hey, absolutely.
All right. So what's your strategy here for the end of the race? You know you got a hot rod. You got 4 tires now. What are we looking to see from you guys? Just going to take it home to the end?
Yeah, that's the plan. Hopefully we can get a 1-2 here. Patrick's been real strong. We'll see if I got anything for him.
All right, bud. Lights out on the pace car. We're going to let you get back to it before we let you go. Who you shouting out?
Yeah, thanks to you guys for calling the news. Thanks for Kenny for putting on the league, and shout out to EPI.
All right. Good luck.
Alrighty, that was Matt DeCiani, our Stage 2 winner. EPI has swept the stages with Patrick Gitter winning Stage 1 and Matt DeCiani winning Stage 2. Definitely an awesome performance so far. As the pace car dives down pit road, green flag will fly once again as we start stage number 3. Now, will this look like Stage 2 where we see some cautions? We'll have to wait and see how that kind of works out. But so far, so good. Good start there. You see, of course, Chris Johnson all over the back of Matt DeCiani and a cluster of race cars battling for 4th on back. Of course, side by side is Josh Schaffner and Greg Wachinski.
Ooh, there goes Al Kozlowski sideways right in the mainframe. He's going to be coming right across the start-finish line, drifting. And we'll see if he can back that thing up. Nope, looks like he's going to hit the tow button.
See exactly what happened here to Al Kozlowski. Looks like he was fine through 1 and 2 there. Something happened here on the front stretch. Maybe another lockup, possibly? Oh, no, this is actually out on the exit of turn 4. This is the first time I think we've really seen. Oh, blown engine. No wonder he towed, Big Al. That was a blown engine.
Yeah, he hit that wall kind of hard. Yeah, once he come across forward there. And that's what we talked about. It's just that, you know, if you get the entry right, you still got to hold your mouth right on the exit. And we're going to – I don't think that's going to be the last one of those that we see, because that is the North Wilkesboro spin right there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you called it earlier in the race that these guys were going to have that as an issue. And I think that's, if you get loose on the entry, it's nowhere near as bad than if you get loose on exit. Because you get loose on exit, there's a bunch of concrete waiting on you. And it seems like Big Al got that right on his nose.
Yeah, Al Kozlowski definitely took that one across the nose.
Yeah, and it shows that these cars, even as tough as they are, they don't stand up well to concrete.
Yeah, halfway through this thing right now, and we definitely have seen that North Wilkesboro is I mean, it's not like any other track that we come to. And I want you to think about what I'm saying here, so it'll make sense. This is the ISCA. We don't generally have cautions outside of the stage cautions. Tonight, we're already up to 5 cautions outside of the stage.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, a lot of times these races, go almost completely green, and that has not been the case tonight. It has definitely been a lot of attrition as well. Only 12 drivers remain on the lead lap. Of course, Kenny Powell's still out there running. He's going to possibly get another lap back here, and now is 6 laps down. So he does have a possibility of getting on the lead lap if it continues in the way that it is.
Yeah, keep on chugging, Kenny. I mean, the lap gods are in your favor. Yeah, we're going to be doubling up again, and I think this is also going to help out the tire wear situation, Brian, because if these guys do continue to have cautions, you know, as we stack these things back up and go through the heat cycles, you know, I think, yeah, they'll be able to run this thing without having to worry about tires.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to voluntarily come down pit road unless there's a caution. No green flag stop. I don't think that's I don't think that's going to happen. But I do think there could be a possibility some guys drop down and take tires. I just don't, like DeCiani even kind of said the lefts aren't wearing. I think the rights are, but I still don't think it's worth it to sacrifice the track position. So I think these guys are going to try to stay out as long as they can. And we might have already seen our last stop, except for guys trying to get damage repaired. But here we go. Pace car is going to be dipping down pit road. Green flag is out once again. A really good restart there from Patrick Gitter. Chris Johnson almost got underneath DeCiani. He was almost able to take advantage. Unfortunately, not the case. I'll tell you, Greg Wachinski is in a hornet's nest right now.
Yeah, he's got Ryan Strunk that's anxious on the high side behind him.
And here comes Schaffner. He's moved up to 4th. It's gotten clear of Wachinski. Look at the run that Wachinski got off of 4. Almost went side by side again with Schaffner. The Strunk, a little bit of a wiggle on the entry there. There he goes.
There he goes. Able to lock it down. Oh, he's in the grass. That's going to bring out a caution.
Yep, definitely. And you could see that something happened in the middle of the corner. And, of course, this place, you know, if something happens in the middle of the corner, it's probably going to affect you on exit, too. I mean, the car was unloaded.
It's a tale of 2 pedals. I mean, that's exactly what it is. And you've got to be balanced on both of those when you're going around there, Brian. A little bit too much of one is going to send you in the wrong direction.
Asking too much of the tires. I mean, you saw he had that little bit of a kind of wiggle, I'd say, in the middle of the corner, and the car was already unloaded, you know, or imbalanced, I'd say. Fortunately, nobody hit him.
Very fortunately, nobody hit him.
Of course, that is going to be, I do believe you said, our 6th caution now, based on an accident.
And so, this is going to beg the difference for those, Kenny Powell, the recipient of the lucky dog. But for those guys that are actually have slid around this track, you know, Brian, we still got 119 laps to go, man. So, I don't know how those Goodyears are going to hold up.
Yeah, and we talked about it, you know, they're not hurting the tires very much. Well, I think they might be hurting them somewhat, though, because, I mean, whenever you're having to put the gas pedal back down in these cars, I mean, it spins those tires a little bit, and that could affect them. We'll have to wait and see kind of how that all works out. Of course, if we go green from here to the end, this race is going to go by very quickly. Of course, the lap times around this place are a little bit above 18-second laps. But, you know, right now we're in that slog portion of the race, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I totally understand what you're saying. I mean, this is, for us, we should be paying some bills. I think we'll have to do that here eventually.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. If we get one more caution, I think we'll take us a commercial break.
Yeah.
Patrick
like
Gitter, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is just indicative, showing you just how challenging this track is. Tire wear, setups, it's all going to come into play here before it's over. Lap traffic, I think we're going to throw everything at North Wilkesboro but the kitchen sink.
Yeah, and then this has, I think, been even more difficult, and this is saying something, more difficult than Darlington last week. I mean, Darlington's the toughest track on the schedule, track too tough to tame. It's even in the name. But this week, the other variables have, of course, like you said, the lack of setup have made this a lot more difficult. And, of course, this track is just difficult in general, and it's old school NASCAR. This track does not hold your hand like Darlington. Of course, Darlington doesn't hold your hand either, but I'm saying like other tracks. This track does not hold your hand. This is old school NASCAR back when you had to drive the race car. I probably just offended a lot of people.
You probably did. I can. You know what? I can feel snowflakes melting. Green flag's back out. Gitter's back on the throttle.
Whoa! Some contact. Oh,
big contact. Matt DeCiani, Chris Johnson. It's going to go on into J.C. Evans. Also, Jose Acosta's going to be involved in that. He's going to get collected.
Yes.
Man, look.
Wow. Taking a look back at this one, this is essentially going into turn one. Of course, Chris Johnson was definitely hard on the brakes, trying to get underneath DeCiani and tagged DeCiani's left rear. As we take a look back at this replay here, you see, just right up there into, and something happened there. Chris Johnson, because he got into DeCiani in the first place, and that they seemed like they kept it together. And then all of a sudden, Chris Johnson just shot up. He just shot up all of a sudden. I want to look back through the cockpit there. I want to look through the cockpit on that one.
I think he about to just got it back into the throttle and had a little bit of a hook right situation.
Take a look through the cockpit here of Chris Johnson. Oh, you see, he turned it to the right. Right when that happened.
I think it was sliding on him, Brian, and I think he was just trying to prevent the hook. I think it just hooked hard on him.
Yeah, that's an odd one right there. I think he was maybe trying to, counter steer it, like you were saying, but it definitely went right up into DeCiani and cost DeCiani quite a bit.
Yeah, I think they were both starting to slide right there. They were kind of synchronized drifting at one point.
And, of course, other people were involved in that as well. Let me see exactly. See Greg Wyszynski. I think he might have gotten a little bit of this here. Oh, look at Schaffner. Parting the Red Seas. J.C. Evans down into, I do believe, Mark Sanchez. You see Jose Acosta.
Yeah, we saw Kenny Powell coming just up short. And that might not have worked out in Powell's favor, because if he did actually touch, then he would not get the lucky dog.
Ooh, front end contact there for Jose. Let's see if Kenny Powell did have contact there.
I think he got stopped short.
I think he's good. Because he is now showing only 4 laps down, so I think that means he got the wave around. There's a real possibility Kenny Powell's going to be on the lead lap by the end of this race. Of course, new running order here. Patrick Gitter's in the lead. Greg Wyszynski second place now. Josh Schaffner now up to third. Pace car lights are out. We're getting ready to go back to green flag racing once again, as we just had a pretty monstrous crash there. Definitely appreciate everybody out there tuning in to the ISCA Thursday Cup Series here with the Sundrop 250. Pace car getting ready to take a turn down pit road, and the green flag is back out. A little bit of a checkup there from Wachinski. Some contact to his rear end from Randy Mullins. Mullins not able to check up in time. I don't know if Wachinski was in the wrong gear or just didn't go.
I don't know. I think North Wilkesboro's just got turned into a crime scene investigation.
Yeah, it has been. We're going to have to call the FBI.
Now we're getting it going. The 29 Mark Sanchez, he is on the move. He's up in the 6th place. Mark Sanchez actually started this thing all the way back in 6th place.
Greg Carr almost getting into Matt DeCiani. DeCiani desperate to try to get some of these spots back.
And there goes Sanchez sliding down the inside. I think he was actually able to recover.
A lot of guys are having a little bit of some trouble out here on the racetrack. Josh Schaffner has moved up to 2nd. Now, of course, look at the recovery from Brian Johnson. You talked about him earlier. He's running up in 4th now.
Yeah, he's definitely got his legs back underneath him, and he is on his trek back to the front. The 28 car, though, slowly starting to run away with this thing, but Josh Schaffner, right now, he is being shown in P2, Brian, and if he can continue the run that he is having, he will definitely find himself in pay dirt before this thing's over.
Yeah, he's definitely having a fantastic run. I mean, especially points-wise. Even if he finishes 2nd right now, this is going to be a really good points day for Schaffner. Like we talked about before, this could be what he needs to possibly get past Brandon Pasalacqua in the Cup Series points.
Mark Sanchez down pit road now getting a little bit of work done.
Yeah, looks like he's going to be taking tires here, and this is not what you want to do. You don't want to have to take a green flag stop.
No. He has got a meatball flag, so he is maintenance performed.
See, Ryan Strunk has gotten by Brian Johnson, moves up into the 5th spot. So Brian Johnson seems like his car maybe not handling it as well as it could have been. And look at the recovery as well from Matt DeCiani, now up to 7th place. Looks like Ryan Strunk having a little bit of a handling woes. Patrick Gitter now out to 2 seconds of a lead right now. He has just been looking fast and in charge tonight.
Here comes 29 Mark Sanchez. Repairs complete. Now he is back onto the racetrack. Leader's going to be going by him. Sanchez total, it looks like he is going to be 4 laps down. That's going to definitely throw a couple wrenches into Kenny Powell's plans.
I don't know. I mean, Sanchez is back down pit road again, so I think that whatever damage he repaired, I don't think it's complete, but he wasn't able to at least get the black flag off.
He got a black flag. And that might have been from exiting or entering. That is going to play into Kenny Powell's favor because now Powell is going to move up into 12th place, and that will actually still allow him to be the strong recipient of the lucky dog, and Sanchez having to hold for quite a while. So he was a naughty boy coming either off or onto pit road.
Contact!
77. The 77 gets square into the back of the 54. Not sure what that's about. Now he's going to be down on the inside. This ride's not done yet.
Not at all. He's definitely playing some bumper cars with the 54 here. And this is just a track to do it. Short track tempers flying a little bit here at North Wilkesboro as we now have a less than 100 laps to go.
29 still being held. Now he is just free to go, Brian. That went from putting him 3 laps down to 7 laps down. That'll just show you how long and arduous that pit road journey can be.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're going to be down there. If you get a 40-second hold, that's like 3 laps. And not counting the time it takes to get from one end of the pit road to the other.
Now, DeCiani has fallen way back off the pack here now, the pace, rather. He is back behind the 54 and the 77 that are battling side by side. He now finds himself in 6th place, hoping he don't get caught up in this mess here, as now he's actually able to get by Randy Mullins.
Yeah, on the slow march to the front here as he's back up in the 5th. Big run here. He's got some good speed, I think, still.
Yeah, absolutely. But the 77 is not, I mean, that's an untamed bull here tonight. He's not just going to let you go. You're going to have your hands full trying to get around him.
No, I definitely agree. We've already seen him. He's willing to use that nose for malicious purposes, if you will.
Man, we're not mad. Brian's.
Oh, I'm not mad. I love it. I love it. That's why we're here, Big Al. We're here to watch him get a little funny out there on the track.
Yeah. Last time I saw my granddaddy get like that, though, my grandma smacked him.
That's right. Of course, Patrick Gitter still with a 2-second lead. John Schaffner trying everything he possibly can to see if he can't knock that lead down, but I don't think he's being very successful at it. Ooh, Strunk a little bit tight on the exit. This is going to give, I think, Randy Mullins an opportunity to get that spot back.
Yep, but they're still going to be right there battling that one. That one's not going to be over just like that. Brian Johnson still, though, right there in the mix with these guys. He's been trying to get around them for a while.
Yeah, here comes Chris Johnson as well. Of course, Chris Johnson was up in third just a little bit ago. Now trying to see if he can't work his way back up through. He now sits in the 8th place position. But definitely a dominant day so far for Patrick Gitter.
Yeah, right now Gitter is definitely running away with this thing. He's got almost a 2.5 sec. Well, he's got a 2.5 second lead over P2 Josh Schaffner.
Oh, body slam over here from Matt DeCiani. Drives it in deep into 3 and 4 and throws a door into Greg Wachinski. That is allowing Ryan Strunk to get by. These guys are like professional wrestlers out here. I wouldn't be surprised to see a pile driver.
I just heard Ludacris song playing in the background.
Yeah, that's right.
Something about get out of my way.
No, we don't know the other words.
Well, this one's set to a country tone.
And Matt DeCiani, of course, getting by Greg Wachinski now sights his target is Josh Schaffner. And I think he might be able to get up there to him. I mean, DeCiani has shown significant pace here tonight.
Well, I mean, he's riding a different kind of a rocket, too.
Yeah, I mean, he's on the same kind of speed that Patrick Gitter is on. And he said, you know, in his interview after stage 2, he said, we're bound and determined to get a 1-2 here tonight. And it looks like they have the speed to do it.
But look, any top 5 finish for Schaffner here tonight is going to be a big day as far as points go. And you are running these races for points. As much as you like to come out and say, hey, man, I want to do this, this, and this, you got to protect the car. You got to protect the investment. You got to finish high up to get those points, because points, that's what's going to win the championship.
Yeah, I think Schaffner knows that. I think that if DeCiani puts enough pressure on him, I think that Schaffner's probably just going to let him go. I don't see, he's like, I want to keep my race. I don't want to lose, because you get wrecked, all those points you could have got are going to be gone. And it looks like, yep, just like that, Schaffner goes up to the top to allow DeCiani to go on ahead. He just wants to make sure he kind of puts a Band-Aid on the bleeding, though. Do not want to let Ryan Strunk get anywhere near him. Oh, a little bit of a wiggle there off the corner from Strunk.
For several reasons as well, man, because, you just don't want Strunk to wreck you.
Not at all.
That's
Not
it. I was trying to come up with a nice analogy, but we don't have time for that. You just don't want to get wrecked.
And this is the place to get wrecked. And it seems like, it's very easy to get wrecked at a track like this. I mean, it doesn't take much. I mean, all the wrecks we've seen thus far tonight have been little touches. That's all they've been, just a little touch. That's all it takes. Tap it in, and you're going around. So I'm sure Schaffner is probably watching his rear view very closely here. Of course, Greg Wachinski also waiting to pounce if something goes wrong, along with Brian Johnson. 173 laps into this event, though. The laps are counting down as we're coming up on 73 laps to go. Or I'm sorry, 77 or 78.
Yeah, 77 laps to go.
That's South Carolina math. Look at a little bit of a stack up here as Greg Wachinski is caught up to Ryan Strunk. Almost got into the rear bumper there. Oh, this is close. Oh, man. 3 wide as they get around the lap car. Alexander Carr. Ooh, wee.
They're not done yet. I mean, it's just this accident is actually looking for a place to happen.
It is definitely going to happen eventually, but it looks like Ryan Strunk successful in holding off Greg Wachinski. Now Greg Wachinski going to be under fire from his G&G teammate Brian Johnson.
You know, Brian Johnson has a rocket ship. You know, he started this thing in third, Brian, and he was really up front battling. So I don't think he just wants to let it go away. I think he's just been trying to figure out, you know, exactly which order to stack the washers in order to get this thing to come back alive again.
Yeah, 100%. Sure, he's been trying to make sure to get damage repaired when he can and make adjustments. Brake bias is a huge thing at a track like this as well. See, of course, Jose Acosta has now gone a lap down. This is going to complicate things once again here. And we do know, I hate to be the stirrer, but we do know that some people do have an issue with the 42.
Well, I mean, I don't think this is the time or place for it.
Yeah.
I can understand Jose not wanting to go a lap down, but obviously, you know, his horse has 3 legs here tonight, and that's something that he has been dealing with, and it has definitely plagued that team. But they're gonna be able to recover. You know, just not their track, not their day.
Of course, Patrick Gitter now out to 3 seconds of a lead on Matt DeCiani. Matt DeCiani has about 2 seconds back to Josh Schaffner right now. Of course, Schaffner still having to deal with the 77 Kellogg's machine right there behind him.
And eventually we're going to have to start talking about fall off because we still have 69 laps to go in this thing. Right now, the lead drivers got 64 laps on their equipment. I'm showing DeCiani coming down on lap 42. He did come down 42 laps ago, Brian, and guess what he did?
What's that?
He took right side tires, it looks like, and got some fuel.
Now, looking at lap times here on the racetrack, Patrick Gitter 19.146 last time by. Fastest car on the track, though, is Brian Johnson, 19.097 last time by. So watch out for that 4 machine. Don't count him out quite yet. He's been turning some really, really good laps. So the fall off hasn't been near as great as I suspected, but we still have a long way to go. So I don't think we've seen the last of those times starting to get higher and higher.
Yeah, and this is at that point right now where they've got as much to go as they've got on their tires. So if you're really struggling now, you're going to be struggling a lot here towards the end of this thing. I just don't see how we're going to do this without having at least one more caution.
Yeah, I mean, especially once the tires are starting, you know, when they wear to a certain degree, I mean, guys are going to start to get loose. They're going to start to get tight. There's going to be some hitting of the wall.
And it's not necessarily ever going to be from the guys that are up front. That's never going to be the case. But, you know, a lot of racing left to go, Brian, and a lot of miles to cover.
Brian Johnson making the pass now up to 4th place. Has gotten by the 77. Chris Johnson trying to follow his way through, but not able to do so. Ryan Strunk definitely throwing a little bit of blocks of contact there. The 99 into the back of the 77.
Well, I'm just going to say that
this is not going to be good.
The 99 can do no wrong. I mean, that is a Ford, so people should automatically move out of his way.
They should, huh?
Look, man, if you want my honest opinion, I'll sit up here and lie to you.
Tell you what, Chris Johnson's definitely bound and determined to get by Ryan Strunk. Oh, a little bit of wiggle off of turn 2. Still side by side for the 5th place position.
And he's not going to just relinquish that position, without putting up a heck of a fight. We know Ryan Strunk and we know Chris Johnson. These guys are fierce competitors, and we expect them to do no less than compete for the positions. And I don't think it's going to be over for a while, and I don't think that's going to be it for tonight.
The 77 paying back the 99 with a little bit of a bump to his rear end.
Yeah, just rung his bell a little bit.
That's just to show, hey, I don't appreciate you giving me the bumper, buddy. And it looks like Chris Johnson has successfully made the pass.
Greg Wachinski now going to be sliding on through the turn.
He's
There's
trying to
Kenny Powell. Kenny Powell's right behind those guys.
Yeah, I think Ryan Strunk's starting to struggle. I think he looked fast in his shorter run. He was putting a lot of pressure on Schaffner, but I think his tires are starting to go a little bit worn out at the moment. And I think all these guys are starting to try to take advantage of that. And I think Wachinski's definitely going to want to be right there with that and see if he can't get one more spot better. Whoa! Wachinski almost turning the 77 there. A little bit of a stack up happening here. Of course, you see Kenny Powell in the Toyota right behind him. Of course, he is, of course, still 4 laps down.
But at this point, though, you got to drive by the guy. You can't continuously get held up because you're throwing your own race away at that point.
It looks like Ryan Strunk moves up the racetrack. That's going to give Greg Wachinski maybe a way by. I don't know. It looks like Strunk. I think Strunk's defending. I think that he's not trying to let them go. I think he's trying to run a little higher to defend.
Yeah, absolutely. He didn't go high on the racetrack to let him get by. He went high to get a better angle to go down. I mean, he's doing himself a favor. He's not trying to do them a favor at all. Here comes Wachinski on the inside trying to close that door. Strunk actually inside the 5 car there.
Oh, and there they go.
This is going to be, I'm going to tell you what, that is going to be a cause of contention right there. Wachinski now going to collect his wounds, lick his wounds. He's got a meatball flag.
Not going to be too happy about that at all.
And I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be happy.
Yeah, they were connected in one car there. Luckily, Kenny Powell's able to get through without hitting anything, and definitely a heavy hit there. As that brings out a caution here. Means we're going to have less than 50 laps to go. Do you come down pit road now?
Yeah, I think a lot of guys are going to be coming down pit road just because at this point, you have nothing to lose. Come on down, you get the freshies, and then you re-roll your dice. You get better luck. And thanks to Mr. DeCiani, you only got to take right side, so you ain't got to worry about that either. I think everybody's taking right sides only. Looks like the 54 kind of muffed his stop, blew his box.
All right, well, how about this? Let's take pay some of our sponsor, or pay some of our bills here in the ISCA. We're going to take a quick step away. We'll be right back with the last 50 laps of this race.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
Or there, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I feel comfortable, bro.
We get a hug.
What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
It's gonna get hot today. Grab an ice cold sun drop and show us how you drop it.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
And drop it.
Cause I got it going on. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
A thirst quenching citrus soda just dropped coast to coast. Sun drop.
That's how you drop it. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Here goes the green flag here. Going to have, I do believe, 48 laps to go. Patrick Gitter with a really good restart. Of course, like you said, everybody took 2 tires. Go ahead, Big Al.
Still got a lot of cars down on pit road.
Whoa. Patrick Gitter with some problems here. A little tight there into turn 1.
Looks like Ryan Strunk also collected a meatball flag on that last iteration.
Yeah, unfortunate. Of course, they did have some hard contact there, Greg Wachinski and him. Of course, the newest story is Patrick Gitter no longer the leader. Matt DeCiani up to the lead. Side by side, though, for third place is Josh Schaffner trying to battle for that third place position.
Brian Johnson really kind of got to watch his pedals right here, Brian, because he's starting to get a little bit squirrely. Got his brother Chris Johnson going to be right there in the fray.
And I'm wondering if maybe Patrick... Oh, there goes the 9 of J.C. Evans.
Oh, that's going to hurt. Look how wild. Way to go, Jose. Jose got right around him. At least the 9 righted himself, man, but he definitely can't be feeling good. I mean, he T-boned the barrier.
It looked a lot like, almost like Mark Martin whenever he hit the pit wall in NASCAR back when he was racing. Man, that was quite, you see right there, he got into the back of the 99 and just sent himself around. Oh, yeah, that car's done for the day.
Greg Wachinski found himself with a black flag. I guess he was a bad boy leaving pit road. Strunks has disconnected. Unfortunately, Kenny Powell did disconnect due to packet loss again, but he is since back into the race.
That's unfortunate for him. He had made such a good recovery to get back the laps that he did, and now he lost them back again. And man, yeah, you can see the engine did blow on the 9, so he is going to be done for the day.
I think it's more than just the engine blowing.
Yeah, that car is not a car anymore. It's more like just a piece of metal. Go ahead and take that to the compactor.
If he could get it running, maybe we could serve some hot dogs off that thing. Maybe turn it into a food stand or something.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting to note. I think the future of this race has changed though when we saw Patrick Gitter have his issue going into turn 1 where he went up the racetrack, gave the lead to Matt DeCiani. Patrick Gitter has been utterly dominant all night long. Now Matt DeCiani has an opportunity here to possibly win this race, but still has, I do believe when we go back green, we're going to have less than 40 laps to go. And that won't take very long here at North Wilkesboro, but of course for these drivers sitting in the seats, it's going to take an eternity. Of course, at the moment, we only have 8 drivers that remain on the lead lap. So this has been a race of survival, 100%. North Wilkesboro has chewed up and spit out a lot of race cars here tonight. Putting Miles the Monster to shame, wouldn't you say, Big Al? Pace car lights are out. We're on the backstretch, getting ready to go green once again here. Definitely appreciate everybody out there tuning in to the ISCA. Make sure you like, and subscribe. And here we go. Pace car getting ready to take that left turn down pit road. And the green flag flies once again here at North Wilkesboro. Another great start there from Matt DeCiani. Patrick Gitter slides right in underneath, or right behind the one. Side by side for second place, Brian Johnson and Josh Schopner. For third place, I should say. And what a race here. Looks like a slow car on the top. That's Greg Wachinski somehow still running after his accident earlier. That almost complicated things.
Yeah, he got his damage fixed, and now he's back out here trying to race 4 positions, currently being shown in 12th.
Yep, 12th and 12 laps down. Of course, seems like he's still got some damaged car. Doesn't seem like it's handling. I mean, of course, why would it?
He's back down on pit road now. That's going to allow the 18 of the Alexander car to actually bypass him now and move up to 12th place. And Wachinski finds himself in 13th.
And I was talking to all the guys before the race, and they were like, yeah, Brian, I think you need to go ahead and warm your vocal cords up because you're going to have a lot to talk about here tonight. And I think they were right. Coming up here now, 36 laps to go. Matt DeCiani in the lead. Patrick Gitter only about 2.5 tenths back behind him. Of course, still, it's either one of these guys this race. I think they have had the best cars all night. Definitely Matt DeCiani and Patrick Gitter. They came in here prepared for war, and they're winning that war.
Indeed. They definitely come in prepared for battle, and battle they did do. I mean, we've had some battles, 9 total cautions here tonight outside of the 2 stage cautions. So it's not been the usual ISCA event, but it's definitely been an event.
Yeah, I'd say it's been a great race here tonight. I've enjoyed every bit of it. And who knows? I mean, I don't think Patrick Gitter is content to sit behind the one. I don't think he's going to sit here. I think, you see, he looks like he's really trying to pass that one. Now, could they end up having contact of their own? I mean, we've seen it before, though, Big Al. You got to admit, I know that they're not G&G.
Not from API, you haven't.
Yeah, we haven't seen it from
You've
EPI.
You've seen it from other teams, but you have never seen that from EPI.
It's a good point. That is a good point. Saw Patrick Gitter get a little bit wiggly there. So I think this is going to allow a little bit of breathing room for DeCiani. What a race. 8 drivers still on the lead lamp. Jose Acosta at some point in this race was a lamp down. He now finds himself up to 8th. So even though he has not been fast tonight, he has been able to survive, and that is key. And is going to get some good points here tonight as a result.
You just got to be consistent, Brian. That's the key to anything. You know, it's not the fastest. It's the one who endures and perseveres.
Of course, Randy Mullins now working on the 99 of Chris Johnson. This is the battle for 5th place, I should say. Of course, Randy Mullins has been up in the top 3, back now to the 6th place spot. Definitely has had a little bit of an up and down day. That Ram machine's pretty quick. Chris Johnson, I don't think he's going to be willing to really give that spot up this close to the end. Coming up now on 27 laps to go. And look at Patrick Gitter go. He's ripping around the middle. He's doing like a diamond line. I like what I'm seeing from him. He kind of has a little bit of a higher entry. Drops down a little bit lower on the exits to get that straight run off the corner. And it seems like it's working for him. I mean, he's really caught back up to DeCiani, probably making DeCiani sweat a little bit.
Yeah, he's just keeping him honest with 25 laps to go once we come across the line. I think these guys definitely having a good time. Probably definitely put some laps down, at least 25 laps or so here at North Wilkesboro.
definitely. These guys have learned this track like the back of their hands, and hopefully the audience out there that is watching is getting hyped up for the real-life race coming up this weekend. I'm wondering if it'll look like this, because if it does, we're in for a heck of a show.
I think we're going to be in for a heck of a show. I mean, of course, I won't probably tune in, but yeah, I think it should be fun.
I'm gonna try my best to watch. Love to make a trip out there to the that historic North Wilkesboro, maybe for even another short track race. But Matt DeCiani definitely taking us to school here at this short track. Has about 3/10 of a lead on Patrick Gitter at the moment. Of course, Gitter has a little bit over a second on Josh Schaffner. And you talked about Schaffner. Really good point state for him at the moment. Of course, Jose Acosta in danger of possibly going a lap down here very soon, as he is about 16 seconds now back from DeCiani. And you can actually see him on some of our camera angles here.
Oh, yeah, him with Greg Carr.
This could complicate things for these leaders.
Yeah, 21 laps to go. I think Greg Carr is going to be kind of in the mix, but look, just ahead there, you got Mark Sanchez as well. So the leaders, Matt DeCiani is going to have to pick his way through the crowd here. You know, kind of like a blind man at an orgy. He's going to have to feel his way through.
Okay. Hopefully, I was thinking maybe it would open the door for Patrick Gitter to be able to maybe make a move on Matt DeCiani, but it looks like Alexander Carr got out of the way. And he is now going to be 13 laps down. Of course, now Jose Acosta on the chopping block. It's been struggling all night, but I got to say, I really am impressed with Jose's, I'd say, determination, perseverance, I think is the best word for it. I mean, you come out here in a car that's not very fast, it's easy to give up, but he hasn't given up. Gotta speak a lot, gotta respect him for that.
Yeah, kudos to all of the guys that are still out there. We got 13 out of the 17 cars that started this thing still running, and out of those, we only have 6 that are on the lead lap. Sorry, 8. Sorry, nope, 7. Look at me. 7. I'll get it eventually. Just give me a minute, ladies and gentlemen.
And here we go now. 15 laps to go. Can Patrick Gitter make something happen here to get the victory?
Or does he just simply, be a great teammate and just usher in Matt DeCiani and help him preserve the win?
Either one could very well happen, but we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. You got to, keep it in mind as well. I mean, I think that Matt DeCiani had our finish recently to where I think he came home in second, and I think he felt like he had a chance to maybe race Patrick Gitter, but decided against it. That way they would get a good finish and, not endanger their chances. So maybe Gitter pays that back at this race. I don't know, though. I think DeCiani's starting to get a little tight. I'm seeing it looks like DeCiani's getting a little tight here, and this could make Patrick Gitter maybe lick his chops a little bit.
Well, 12 laps to go. That's still quite a bit of time.
Still quite a bit of time, still quite a bit of opportunity for Patrick Gitter to maybe make his move.
And we've seen finishes like this at North Wilkesboro, so this is nothing out of the norm. As Kenny Powell trying to best his position, he gets around Jose Acosta, still not necessarily best in his position. Jose Acosta only a lap down, Kenny Powell some 7 laps down.
Yeah, but at least Kenny Powell is in the top 10, so that is a not the best day, but it could have been a whole lot worse, that's for sure. And he's another one that has that perseverance, I'd say, to stay in it. Because, I mean, when you lose a connection twice in a race, a lot of times that's like, I just give up, but he didn't.
And still bring it home in the top 10. I think that's a great day at the racetrack, Bub.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, problems there for Mark Sanchez up into the outside wall. The leaders are able to get by as we now have 8 laps to go when we cross the start-finish line.
Had also a little bit of a misstep from the 4, Brian Johnson. He kind of like slipped a little bit, and Chris Johnson kind of rode by him. That's going to put Chris up into 4th place.
Kenny Powell might have an opportunity to possibly get by Mark Sanchez. Of course, Sanchez definitely struggling, so they are now on the same lap. Definitely quite a run for Chris Johnson. Definitely has been doing very well here tonight, up into that 4th place spot, able to best his brother, which is, I'm sure Chris is not going to like this, but a lot of times Brian is the one that seems to be the one that has the better luck and always seems to get the better finishes, so Chris has got to be happy to get this one over his brother. You know, a lot of times with brothers, they're a lot more competitive with each other than they are with others.
If Chris can finish tonight in the top 5, that's a win. As far as I'm concerned, he has had some of the worst luck, I think, of anybody in our series right now. And it seems to be someone else is kind of cutting him or stabbing him or kicking him or hitting him. It's never like he's out there the aggressor or the bad driver. He just gets caught up in the most, the craziest wrecks.
Yeah, no, you're right. A lot of times he's just that person that's kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Kind of makes you wonder if he's living right.
Yeah, really.
3 laps to go here for the leader at the line. Might want to check his tides and earnings statement.
Yeah. Go to church or something. He might have some curses on him.
Preach.
And here we go, coming to 2 laps to go. Patrick Gitter running out of time. He's almost looking underneath Matt DeCiani. Will he make an effort? I think he's going to try to. I think he's content. I think he might sit behind DeCiani here and let him get, or I shouldn't say let him get this win.
I think you can kind of talk it up if you want to, but I think at the end of the day, you know, he's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's just being a good teammate, you know, and sometimes that's what we all need. We just need a good teammate.
White flag is out. This is the final time around North Wilkesboro as they come through 3 and 4. Matt DeCiani going to grab the dub here.
Josh Schaffner definitely has to be pleased with his performance here tonight, man. Having a really crappy first stage, brought it home to get points in the second stage, and now bringing it home on the podium. And that's going to be a huge point stay for him. So he will bypass Brandon Pasalacqua. Brian Johnson looks like he will maintain the points lead, but looks like Josh Schaffner's going to move up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely going to be a good day there for Josh Schaffner getting that 3rd spot. Let's go ahead and do a quick rundown through the result. Of course, Matt DeCiani, your winner here tonight. Patrick Gitter comes home in 2nd place. I hate that we're cutting off Matt DeCiani's burnout. It sounds pretty epic. But Josh Schaffner in 3rd, Chris Johnson 4th, Brian Johnson in 5th, 6th place Randy Mullins, 7th Greg Carr, 8th Jose Acosta, 9th Mark Sanchez, and rounding out our top 10 is Kenny Powell.
11th place is going to be Alexander Carr, Greg Wachinski in 12th, J.C. Evans in 13th, Ryan Strunk, Rose Cross in 14th, 15th place Derek Jacobs, 16th Al Koslowski, and Paul Olsen rounds out this 17-car field.
And look at that, Team 8 burnout there. Patrick Gitter and Matt DeCiani doing an awesome burnout, getting a 1-2 for EPI. You love to see it, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
I think they're going to blow them engines. Look at all the smoke. These fans are going to need some medical aid after this one. Smoke inhalation. There goes one of the engines. And with that, we'll go ahead and take a step away. We'll be right back with our post-race show.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire, and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I feel comfortable, bro. We get a hug. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
It's gonna get hot today. Grab an ice cold sun drop and show us how you drop it.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
And drop it.
'Cause I got it going on. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
A thirst-quenching citrus soda just dropped coast to coast. Sun drop.
That's how you drop it. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and of course, what a race we saw here at North Wilkesboro for the Sun Drop 250. 250 laps complete here tonight. Of course, first up, we're going to be talking to our third place finisher, Josh Schaffner. Great job to you, Josh. I mean, definitely seemed like a little bit of an up and down day. You had to avoid some crashes here. How do you think North Wilkesboro treated you here tonight?
Yeah, I thought it treated me really well. I've always really enjoyed this track, and it's a unique challenge. It's a short track I don't have to go to very often. The tire wear, it's not huge, but you got to manage temperature, and it's kind of a, you can pace yourself for the short run or build for the long run. And we kind of spent the week at G&G really working on the long run, and I think that showed. But we maybe lacked a little bit of that 50 lap speed that Matt and Patrick had, and congratulations to them. And but overall, this is a really fun track, and one I wish we could maybe race at every season, or maybe even twice. It's a fun track to visit each year.
Yeah, it really is a fun track, and we were kind of confused as why iRacing's officials didn't come here this week, and but still glad that ISCA kind of stuck to their guns, and we were able to race here tonight. It definitely was a lot of fun to watch you guys. Hopefully, it was the same for you down behind the the steering wheel. I mean, what were some of the challenges that you guys had to face out there? I mean, it seemed like a lot of loose under braking and loose on the exit sometimes.
Yeah, I found a little bit of the opposite the first stage. I built really tight. It might have just kind of been the temperature and the track state there a little bit. Did make a couple adjustments to offset that. And I thought the car really took off, and we were really strong in the second stage. And slowly worked your way through the field and had a little better track position for stage 3. And I think a lot of us at G&G were hoping that stage 3 would go green all the way. I think we were maybe going to be a little bit better than Matt and Patrick. Not to say we were going to catch them, but our lap times were maybe getting a little bit better past that 60 lap mark. But it kind of ended up kind of being a little bit split in half there, and still able to find a little bit of pace on the short run, but just didn't have enough to keep up with the 2 leaders there. But still a really fun race, and had to work on the car a little bit. But kind of the car was the best at the end, and that's kind of the key. And was fortunate that the car was pretty strong towards the end of the race.
Yeah, definitely. Very strong race car there for you, Josh. Of course, next week going to be Charlotte Motor Speedway. Definitely a great 1.5-mile track, fairly unique, I'd say, almost like what we see at this week in the officials at Texas. How do you feel about Charlotte? What do you think you're going to be strong there?
Yeah, I really enjoy racing there. I think I did pick up a win there in season 1 ISCA, and looking forward to get back there. It's always really kind of one of the crown jewel races, and it's going to be a long race when we get there next week. I guess I haven't looked at what the length is, but I'm sure it's going to be probably 350, 375 miles, and so it'll be the longest race of the year. It's always presents a unique challenge, one that I really enjoy, and a racetrack I enjoy, a race I enjoy, and I really like those long races. So look forward to getting to work on that here maybe over the weekend, first of the week, and yeah, looking forward to getting there next weekend and see what we got.
Don't remind me, man. That's gonna be a long one. Don't tell me that. It's gonna be a good one though. Can't wait to see what that one looks like for sure. Going to be somewhat more of an endurance race. I think tonight was somewhat of an endurance race itself as well, surviving a lot of the accidents. I know that you did have a couple close calls for sure, but great job too. You started in 10th, finished in 3rd. I do believe you probably were the biggest mover tonight. Who can we give a shout out to after your finish tonight?
Yeah, definitely always want to thank my wife and daughters for time on Thursday night. And I do got to thank Brian Johnson, their teammate. He cut me a little bit of slack there when Greg had a little troubles on the front stretch and we're 3 wide. Appreciated the room there. Obviously, want to thank ISCA and Kenny for all the work they do. Brian, you and Al in the booth each week. We appreciate that. Obviously, Buck Kicker for sponsoring, and want to thank all of our great drivers that come out each week. And yeah, we had a few mishaps there today, but a lot of people did a good job, working through some of those wrecks. And so that was great. And then I always want to thank the sponsors, Pioneer and Smith Farms and, American Ethanol and all of our farmers across the country. Just want to thank all of them. And yeah, look forward to seeing everybody next week.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, Josh, and have a great day, or a great night, I should say, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Brian.
All righty. That was Josh Schofter, our 3rd place finisher. Next up, Big Al is standing by with Patrick Gitter.
Patrick Gitter, this is Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
10-4.
Hey, congratulations to you, sir. Not for your 2nd place finish, but for receiving a Teammate of the Year award there for rolling with DeCiani.
Yeah, man, it was going to be. I'm just happy we were 1-2 there at the end. I mean, he was fast all race. He got caught up in a wreck early, drove it all the way to the front, and then stayed there. So I mean, he was impressive all night. So shout out to him and good teamwork, man. We were talking about pit strategy through the race, and it paid off for us.
So, speaking of pit strategy, do you think that the number of cautions actually, well, not do you think, but how did the number of cautions affect your overall race strategy?
I don't think it really impacted it very much because we kind of had a range of a pit window where that last long run we said, all right, if we get a caution, between X lap and X lap, mid to late run, we'll probably go in. And it worked out. We had that caution around lap 200 or so. So we came in and made some adjustments, took tires, and then just stayed out for the rest of it.
Well, with this week being kind of, a very unique week, coming back to this track for the first time since ever, racing it competitively. What do you think about it? Do you think this track served itself well? Do you think it represented itself well as far as the drivers racing this race here tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Wilkesboro has so much history. A lot of people are really excited about it. I think, fans, young and old, appreciate it and understand that. And it's fun to race it with these cars. I have driven a ton of races here on iRacing and the late models and tour mods, and I was actually impressed with how similar the line was that you took in these cars. So I think that's a good that's a bonus, is those guys that are bona fide short track drivers are going to pick up on it pretty quick. And I think that is going to help draw the crowd here to run this combination on the sim too.
Surprises. What were some of the surprises? Maybe one big surprise that actually occurred here tonight that you weren't expecting.
I think it was the tire strategy. It was do we take 4, do we take 2? Some of the adjustments we made ended up being a little bit looser, I think, than we had planned. I was getting a little bit loose there later in the race when I was kind of playing around with that idea and changed up the pit strategy. And so really it was just kind of acclimating to that and acclimating to the car here and what it was going to do. I really think that was the biggest thing, honestly, for me anyway.
And as we're getting ready to head to another epic track in North Carolina, Charlotte, are there any takeaways that you're going to carry with you as we get ready to transition?
Yeah, I don't know if there's much here at Wilkesboro that I would take. It's just such a different track. One thing I will say here is you do have to let the car roll a good bit through the center, and you kind of take that and magnify it at Charlotte. Charlotte is a track where you really have to roll the bottom, especially in 1 and 2 for a while. And so I had that in the back of my mind, get used to letting this car roll because that's what we're doing next week, for a little bit anyway. So that, and then, the officials are at Texas this week. And so really trying to get in that mindset of letting the car roll compared to that run we had a few weeks ago. Where we were at Richmond, Bristol, Martinsville, all those short tracks.
It's going to be a long night next Thursday once you're in that car at Charlotte. This is going to be one of the longest races that we actually have on the series. Any kind of special preparations you got going into that versus a shorter race like this?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be seat time, repetition, getting laps into practice. And I just think at Charlotte, I mean, it's kind of more of an endurance race. Really, it's just try to minimize mistakes, make sure you don't make one big mistake that's going to throw the race. And, a lot of times you can, if you can survive and make it to the end, you'll be in pretty good shape. Just, minimizing mistakes.
All right, man, I appreciate everything you do. Awesome watching you guys down there tonight, especially that 28 crew. You guys really got it done. Before we let you go, though, who you shouting out tonight for your second place finish?
Yeah, definitely Elite Performance Industries and Team Conti. They worked on the Wilkesboro set for us. Got that ready to go, so certainly appreciate that and the work that they put into it every week. Martin PC, check them out if you have any needs for computer equipment, accessories, custom builds. They'll get it done for you. And also C12 Design Shop. They've helped me with a lot of the paints I've run this year, so appreciate those guys. And then, of course, ISCA, the work that you guys and Kenny do, just makes it enjoyable for us to run, and certainly appreciate it.
Well, hey, congratulations, and this sun drops for you. Hopefully we'll see you up here on the podium next week as well.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Alrighty, that was Patrick Gitter, our second place finisher, and of course, I do believe Stage 1 winner. Next up, we'll be talking to our winner, Matt DeCiani. Great job to you, Matt. I mean, you led 113 laps. That's actually quite a bit. I think you and Gitter definitely quite close when it comes to the most laps led here tonight. You started in 8th place, which is quite a big run for you. You had a fast race car. We knew that. I mean, you and Patrick Gitter both did. Of course, we know, Michael Conti definitely helped you out quite a bit here. And having a Coke Series driver kind of help you with a setup. I mean, how big is that? Do you guys think, that had a lot to do with it? Or maybe it's just, your experience with the racetrack?
Oh, I mean, of course it had a lot to do with it. I mean, Michael Conti builds us fantastic setups everywhere, but he's especially good at building short track setups. And this thing was just on rails. Like, I mean, I knowing how good it was, I wish I would have put maybe more practice in to see how much better I could have gotten, because I really didn't put much practice in. And yeah, the first Q laps I ran on the set were in qualifying, so that's probably why I botched that lap. But yeah, I mean, it's huge. He's awesome. He always gives us great stuff, great notes. He's always there when we need him.
Yeah, definitely. Got to give a whole lot of respect to him. Very nice guy, very talented, very good builder for sure. And you guys definitely put together, or you drove really well as well. And you guys you could have raced each other a lot more there towards the end. And of course, that 1-2 finish, I mean, that's huge. And especially, you guys have been kind of on a roll here as of late as well in the ISCA. I mean, do you think you're sending a message? Do you think there's kind of a new sheriff in town?
No, Patrick's still the class of the field, and a lot of the fields I'm in with him. I don't know what happened on that restart, whether he made a mistake or whatever. That was the difference in the race, honestly. If he would have had the lead, I wouldn't have been able to pass him. We were so close on time, and honestly, I felt like he was better than me at the end, and he was just being a good teammate. But whatever, I'll take it, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was kind of interesting. And I think because we saw I know you talked to Big Al, I do believe, at the end of stage 2, and you mentioned something about taking the 2 tires and the left side's not wearing. You had already tried that, and it worked for you. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't you guys take 2 tires on that last stop as well?
Yeah, that's correct. I only took 1 set of lefts the whole race. It was right at whatever the end of stage 2 was. It's the only time I took lefts.
So I think maybe it could have been, I don't know, but correct me if I'm wrong, maybe Patrick Gitter possibly wasn't used to the way the car felt. So I don't know if that led up to something like that, but track position definitely seemed like it was worth its weight in gold here tonight for sure. But I mean, how do you like North Wilkesboro? I mean, do you want to see it come around more? I definitely do.
Yeah, I mean, I like short tracks. It gets us away from the hold it wide open for the most part, arrow draft tracks that are kind of get arrow locked and you can't really race. So I definitely like the tracks where you got to roll center brake a lot. You could race it more. But yeah, I think on that two-tire call when Patrick's out front, honestly, the track loosened up with the rubber, and because it kind of caught me off guard a little bit, and I almost did the same thing he did on that next restart. So it was probably just a combination of that track temp and the rubber building up.
That's definitely interesting because, yeah, I think I did see that on one of the other restarts to where you kind of did slide up as well. Not as to the certain degree that he did, but still fantastic job, man, leading 113 laps. I mean, definitely can't beat that for sure. Going to be some good points for you here. Charlotte coming up next week. It's going to be a long one. We've already heard that. It's been drilled into my head quite a bit here tonight, and not too excited about it, but I'm sure when the night comes up, I'm going to be definitely excited to see what you guys are able to do. I mean, you keep this streak going. EPI has definitely been showing that G&G is not the only game in town, that's for sure. How do you feel about Charlotte yourself?
I'm looking forward to Charlotte. EPI as a whole, man, we have made so much progress on our mile-and-a-half cars from Kansas to Texas this week in the officials, and I'm really excited to see what we got next week.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that as well for sure. Well, Matt DeCiani, congratulations once again. Who's are you going to shout out? I know one of the things you're going to shout out.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Yeah, thanks to you guys for calling the race. Thanks for Kenny. Thanks for Kenny for putting on this league, and thanks to Patrick for being an awesome teammate. Yeah, thanks to Michael Conti, EPI. We just great setups every week, and it's a pleasure to be driving for them.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely fantastic drive. I mean, you guys definitely tackled the challenge here, especially a lot of drivers coming into this race. Just not having, this is a challenge coming into a racetrack like this. And for him to take the time to help you guys out like that really speaks volumes, I think, to that organization for sure. But thanks for your time, Matt, and look forward to seeing you next week, brother.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, the setup's on raceepi.com. If anyone wants it, it's there for purchase. So if you guys want this set, go grab it.
All right, that was Matt DeCiani, our winner here tonight. Big shout-outs to Patrick Gitter as well for second place, Josh Schaffner for coming home in third. Of course, definitely heck of recovery also from Chris Johnson. We saw that he had some major issues earlier. Brian Johnson as well. To everybody that made the grid here tonight and showed that perseverance. Of course, man, this is a tough track. I mean, it was even tougher, I'd say, than Darlington last week in a lot of regards when it comes to the challenge, when it came to the setup. Big Al, what are your final thoughts on this racetrack? Do you want to see North Wilkesboro come back here in the virtual sense and in the real life sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, why not? It's not like a dinosaur. Dinosaurs became extinct. This track just kind of got abandoned. I would like to hope so. Carolina's put a lot of money into it, and I think it's a short enough track that it has multi-purposes. So I think hopefully it'll be able to sustain itself. Great race tonight. Definitely intrigued. It was exciting to watch, and always a pleasure to call with you. And thanks again to the ISCA, man. And hopefully you guys out there are enjoying what we're doing. Like us, follow us, and subscribe.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely do all that. And of course, if you want to join the ISCA, you see this race in action, all this, all these guys beating and banging, but still racing with respect. You can look us up on the lead directory of iRacing. Just look up the iRacing Stock Car Association. You can even go to the, I do believe, iRacing Stock Car Association Facebook page as well as the website. For sure, you can shoot Kenny Powell a message. Definitely get you in here on the grid and ready to race, and you might even help you get better, just considering the level of talent that we have here in this series. But with that, I think we're going to go ahead and draw this race here to its conclusion. Of course, make sure you tune in. Hopefully on Saturday. Just depends on the number we have here that are going to be competing, of course. But that'll be about 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The broadcast itself starts at 9:15. Race goes green a little after 9:30. But make sure you tune in. Of course, we'll be right back here at North Wilkesboro, and we'll see you there, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching.